Welcome to Literally Books, the podcast. I'm Lindsay.
My name is Magda.
And this week we have movie adaptation Mayhem. And we're so lucky to be joined by the hosts of the Based on a Book podcast with us to talk all about their favorite adaptations. I am so excited. But before we get started, Magda, what are you reading?
So I took you up in one of your book recommendations and I finished reading The Ministry of Time by Kaliane Bradley. And I really enjoyed it, Lindsay. It was really good. I think the ending of it just kind of makes you think quite a bit about like little decisions that kind of takes you on a different path. It kind of the ending gave me not really dark matter vibes because that kind of became like multiple parallels type of thing. But it kind of made me think about like one little decision, how it can kind of put you in different paths that you're supposed to be. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. The writing was very dry. So it's very dry, which is very interesting. It was very matter of fact type of writing, which is, I don't want to say it's not my favorite, but it's just not something that I normally like relate to, but the story is so appealing and so good that you still want to get through it. It's funny because you were right. There are some very sexy scenes in this book, but the way that it's written is just so descriptive in a way that it's just like, here is what's happening. Enjoy. I don't know how to explain it.
It comes out of nowhere too, because the spice is like spicy. Like it's like not like what you would expect, given that you're in the context of like this like government agent time travel book, and then you're like, oh, he's into like joking. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna like casually. Okay, I know.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So that really did take me by surprise, and also the way that the sex scenes are written, it was just so funny. But no, I really enjoyed it. I didn't realize that this book is nominated for a Hugo Award, so that's pretty cool. Kind of makes sense. So yeah, thank you for introducing me to a literary book. I really enjoyed it. What about you? What have you been reading?
So I just finished a book that I don't know if I can like consciously recommend it to anyone who's not in a good emotional state right now, because it gave me so much freaking anxiety, but it was very good. And that's The Dream Hotel by Laila Lalami. So I talked about this really briefly last time, but just a quick summary. It's essentially like a near future where AI is used to determine someone's risk score for committing a potential crime. So our main character, Sara, is coming back from London for a business trip, and she gets flagged at the airport before her husband picks her up with her two twins. And that risk score is identified to be slightly too high. It's like 500 and hers is 515. So she gets brought to this detention center where they basically monitor your risk of harming someone through your time there. You're supposed to stay there 21 days. And it's very much like our prison system. It's a private detention center where they have the people working, and so there's all these like shifting rules that are kind of unclear that they use to add or detract from their risk score, and everything that they do is generated to sort of keep them there so that they can keep getting productivity out of them. And it scared the hell out of me, if I'm honest. It made me want to get off social media. They're like culling so much data from humans that we have out in the world today. It's stressful. Anyway, and then I'm reading Babel still by RF Kuang, which I am about 100 pages from finishing. I'm really enjoying it, but it is quite a dense book, to be sure.
Yeah, that's the one that I think I had to put it aside for a little bit just because I wasn't really getting into it. But I did re-picked up The Will of the Many, which is another dense book. But I started relating a little bit, not relating, but I started getting into the story a little bit sooner than Babel. I think what kind of got me a little bit weirded out with Babel is because I had just come out of reading Yellowface, which once you come out of that and go back into Babel, it's like written by two different people. Like RF Kuang is a completely different person in these two books. And it was just coming from such a fast-paced book, which is what I really enjoyed, to such a slow, dense burner. I think it kind of took me aback and I just couldn't get into it. So I think I'm going to have to put it aside for a little bit and come back to it later.
I get that. They are completely different books. It's amazing that it's the same writer. It's kind of why I'm like living in the RF Kuang verse right now, because she has such range in a way that I've not seen with a lot of authors. Yeah, I'm really enjoying her writing. She's just incredibly talented.
Yeah, she's a smarty pants, and I think her new book Catabasis comes out later this year, so I am looking forward to that one too.
Good. I'm going to force you to tandem read that, or, buddy read that with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tandem. Like a bike. Like you read a chapter, I'll read a chapter. It'll be great.
I'm going to be the Andarna to your turn. Oh, I love it. All right, you want to take a little bit of a break?
Let's take a break.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We are going to get into our movie adaptation mayhem with the gals of Based on a Book. Thank you all for joining. We are so excited to welcome the trio from Based on a Book podcast, work besties Lindsay, Crystal, and Carrie. Their show deep dives into the books you love and the adaptations that bring them to the screen. From beloved classics to cult favorites, they break down both versions and give their unfiltered thoughts on what worked, missed the mark, and everything in between.
They're now in their second season. They've already covered A Wrinkle in Time, The Mist, The Princess Bride, and they just wrapped up a full deep dive on Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Welcome to the show, Lindsay, Crystal, and Carrie. Woo!
This is so exciting. This is the first time anyone's ever read a bio to us and introduced us.
Is it weird to hear about yourself?
I love that you said.
I think we've made it now.
I love that you call this unfiltered. That's a very polite way of putting it.
Yeah.
So we normally like to start with a quick icebreaker question that we normally ask all of our guests, and it's, what book made you a reader? Maybe we can start with you, Crystal.
It was a series, actually. In the second grade, I got introduced to the Boxcar children books. And every book fair after that, I had to have a new one. I was checking them out at the library over and over again. And I absolutely love them. I actually reread them with my daughter about 15 years ago. And they're not amazing.
No, I remember
right?
this being so good.
They're not
That's
bad, but
okay.
The difference between second grade Crystal and grown-up Crystal, okay. But it explains why I like, a lot of the problem-solving type books. So,
What about you, Carrie?
I wasn't really, honestly, a huge reader growing up. I had a lot of issues with reading comprehension, so I kind of steered kind of far away from books. But then I did have my moments with Twilight and Hunger Games. I mean, I did have those moments. They got me into reading, and then I took a huge break. I was in college and I didn't read at all. And then all of a sudden, I think it was in 2019, I grasped onto reading insanely, and it was YA fantasy. And I was mid-20s at the time, and it was Throne of Glass. It was, any type of YA fantasy. Shadowhunters was a big one for me that I just completely dived into, and it was just, from there, I fell in love with it.
You just said something, because I think we all kind of went through, I also went through a very similar path as you did. I did read a little bit more, but it was just a YA fantasy style that just kind of grabbed you in, and then you just kind of slowly start venturing out into other genres.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm chasing that high ever since then. I'm chasing the high of when I first read young adult fantasy ever since.
And Lindsay, what about you?
So my sister actually used to read to me when I was little. And then when I got into school, the book fairs were my thing. That was my jam. So my first book that I really remember picking up on my own and reading, I think, was called Skeleton Man. And that book has stuck with me. I still think about it every now and then. And I guess that's where my creepy comes from.
This is why we asked this, though, because the first book, the books that you pick up as a kid are so telling for what kind of person you're going to be. You are kind of who you are at that point, I think, a little bit, and then you just build on it. It's so fascinating to me.
It really set the tone.
Yeah. Those Pizza Hut bookets, they
For
had no idea
real.
what they were doing to us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so in your opinion, what makes for a good or bad adaptation? Let's go in the same order.
I've been thinking a lot about this one, and I think for me, it's all about honoring the story. I know for movies you have to cut for time, and so some parts of the story are going to be left out, or some characters might not get a part. And I get that. But I think there's a big difference when you're writing a screenplay. Are you trying to, if you're asking yourself, how do I bring this to life on the screen? That's a good place to start. If you're asking yourself, how do I make this better? You're no longer honoring the story. You're changing the story. And I really hate that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think author involvement is honestly a huge indicator of how good this adaptation is going to be. Also, there's you can tell, covering the amount of adaptations we've covered so far, you can tell when there's a respect towards the fan base versus what they're doing just for entertainment, what's gonna make them the most money. We're just fresh off Percy Jackson and TV series versus the movie. It is very obvious which one the author is involved in, which one the author is not involved in, which one has care towards the fan base and which one doesn't. When we consume media, we consume a book differently than when we consume something like a video. Our attention span is a little bit different. So there are obvious changes that kind of have to be done in order to keep our attention. And Crystal says this all the time, they kind of have to be different, a little bit different, because you want to both watch the movie or the TV show and read the book. You want to do both.
Percy Jackson, the movie, did us dirty, man.
That's so fresh in my mind too. And it's just I can't think of anything else. It's just, oh my God, that movie, it was horrible. It was so bad.
Yeah, I want to play off with what Carrie said. I also think that the storytelling needs to work independently so that you can watch it or read it. And I think that makes it its own thing. Don't get too into inside jokes with the story.
I was just talking to Magda about this actually beforehand, how important faithfulness is, and they're different mediums. So to your point, Crystal, it's, you have to, I hear this a lot after people watch movies that are based on books. So they'll be they left out this, they left out that. And it's of course they did. Yeah. Or this would be a 10-hour long, I think that's why the emergence of series is so important, because it allows that faithfulness. But yeah.
Reading the Percy Jackson book, there's a lot of traveling in between as these different scenes are happening. Do you want to watch continuous traveling? That's not going to keep your attention span all the time. That there's continuous action in the TV series, and it's jumping from scene to scene, because that our attention spans do better that way when we're watching it.
We talked about this. We did Mickey 7 recently for Mickey 17, and they changed a portion toward the end of the book pretty significantly. And we were a little bit torn on how we felt about that. And then in sort of discussing it, we were right, but this scene in the book, what would that look like on screen? It would be so boring. And so it I think we both kind of came around of okay, we missed this from the book, but also it doesn't work in a cinema format. It was just a perfect example of what am I seeing in front of my eyeballs? And if it's nothing, if it's just micro expressions in a face, that's not going to be very riveting to watch.
Yeah, it'll have a different emotional impact too. You'll have a different emotional impact when you read it versus what you're watching.
It's I don't know if you'll ever read or watch Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Yeah.
This is
I love a Twilight reference.
And here it is.
The ending.
Sheer joy on
The
all of your faces,
ending.
by the way, at that reference.
I was in the movie theater watching when the whole death thing was happening, and I'm I was losing my mind, because I'm none of this happened.
Yes.
What is going on? It's oh, it's a vision. And I remember being so angry about it. But I guess now you can think about it, it's everything was happening in Bella's mind when she was trying to fight off all of the powers.
And how do you show that?
That would have been so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always laugh because we love to torture Crystal with a Twilight reference in every episode.
I didn't hate Twilight. I read it too. But I read it as an adult because it came out when I was an adult. Like,
we tortured Lindsay and made her read that when she was older.
I read it last year for the first time, and I was like, I don't understand. And I watched the movies, and I was like, these are unhinged in every way. Unhinged. They make no sense.
Yeah.
Truly, it was like, I literally don't know what's going on, like, at any given point.
Yeah, no, they're horrible. Like, they are seriously horrible, but like horrible in the best way possible. That's like the only way I can describe it.
They're just campy at this point.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
You just go in it for the fun and for the laughs, and they're incredible. And it's kind of crazy because the amount of talent that are in these movies, it's off the charts, and they still couldn't make it work. It's just
that sounds really familiar.
I was gonna say that sounds very familiar to the Percy Jackson.
Because again, excellent cast. But, a poorly written story is a poorly written story. That's it.
All right, so how about we get into a little bit of a game of this or that?
Okay, so this is just rapid fire, instant reactions, this or that. Okay, number 1, Mr. Darcy. Is Colin Firth Darcy or Matthew McFadden Darcy?
Matthew McFadden. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I was just watching Pride and Prejudice clips on TikTok of reactions in the theater and like crying along with everyone in the theater at the clip. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something about him. I completely agree with you. I don't know if it's because it was like the first adaptation that I watched. So to me, that's still like quintessential what's in my brain. But to me, yeah, Matthew
And
McFadden
apparently
did it
he did
more
not
than
think he was
Colin.
right for the role. And I'm over here like, what? No.
It's like in books when they say, like, she was hot, but she didn't know it. Like,
Pretty
that's
much.
him. I think that's why we're like, I love to see
Right?
a man that feels this way, not
He was so
some
perfect,
mystical woman who would never.
Yeah, he was like, he didn't think he was dishy enough was the word that he used. And I was like, what are you talking about? I
Pretty
could
much.
eat you up.
Like,
I don't know what you're saying.
Every woman in the world right now is in love with this man. Still to this day. Like, come on, dude.
And he was Tom Wambsgans. Like, that's a huge jump. So I feel like if you can get over that hump, it's amazing. Okay, second one, this or that. Stephen King adaptations, It or Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank.
Yeah.
We covered that one, and that was actually my first time ever reading and watching it. Was it Lindsay,
Yep.
Crystal, was it your guys' first time? Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Wow. It's been on TBS every Saturday
Yeah,
for like
that was-
15 years.
That
like,
was our first experience ever reading or watching it all together.
I haven't read or watched Shawshank Redemption. I will see my way out right now.
Oh no!
Do it.
Do it. You
But do it
have
with a box of
to.
tissues and a whole weekend to recover.
Yeah. You know what's so wild too is that we always say this on whenever we talk about this, is that the shortest books will have like these really long movies and it will cover everything. Like, it's only like 100 some pages. Like, that's how long the book is. And the movie is over 2 hours. And it covers everything in the book.
I'm just going to start slowly whispering every time Magda starts to record. Just say, what did they see if she, like, if it like leaks
There
into
you
her
go.
subconscious.
Yeah.
And Life of Chuck is coming out. Are you guys going to cover that?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Okay, next one. Written spice or visual spice?
Okay.
Interesting.
So theirs are deep, deep
Ooh.
inhales.
Can I just give an alternate answer? Is that allowed?
Yeah, there are no rules.
Audio spice.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good. That's good.
Love me an audiobook.
I'm going to say written. I'm going to say written spice.
I'm going written.
Yeah. For sure.
Me too. I'm more of a written person. I think sometimes the audio, I'm like, oh, like my inner Catholic is like, oh my God, get this away.
But I think that's why it, like the thrill of it, I think, is a little bit more there with the audio than it is with written spice.
I want to
Yeah.
use my own imagination. I want to picture it. I don't want
Yeah.
anyone else's representation.
fair.
Let me do it.
Yeah.
Especially if the voice doesn't match.
no.
You're like,
That'll
no,
also kill it.
no,
audio,
no,
the
no,
audio
yeah.
will kill the spice
Yeah.
too instantly if it's wrong.
Yeah.
What about a faithful adaptation or a new take on the source text?
I I'm gonna have to go faithful adaptation for sure.
Both.
Faithful.
I want both. That's it. I want one of each, please, and thank you.
I would agree with you on that. I think there's been times that some of the adaptations can potentially be improved if it's done well, I think. But it doesn't happen very often. And I think what you guys were mentioning earlier about kind of trying to find the balance of like honoring the fan base, but also staying true to the text, but making it excited for the new people. It's a balance that is kind of
Really
hard
is.
to
But
find.
like iRobot,
Yeah.
you know, the movie didn't in any way whatsoever follow the stories, the short stories, but I feel like it was a really good reimagining of that same theme, you know, and it was still a really enjoyable movie. There's some stuff I'm going to be mad, like if they redo Princess Bride, they better not change it. Like some stuff just shouldn't be changed, you know, some stuff is perfect and we don't mess with that.
I was actually thinking scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
I do wish they would have aged it up, but that was pretty unique. I liked it.
That's like I also read those books. Why did they give those to children? They are like, I look back on that now and I'm like, wow, we were like living in a different time in the 90s and early 2000s. Those books were dark and I loved them.
Yeah, that was my first experience reading them whenever we read them together recently. And whenever I was reading them, I was like, Lindsay was talking about reading them as a kid. I was like, really? My sister was talking about reading them as a kid. I was like, really? Like, I'm scared. And I'm reading it right now.
They're scary.
The lights are on. I can't read this in the dark. I'm terrified.
And the illustrations are so weird and creepy and
Yeah.
good. And you're just like, man, it's a different times.
All right, next question. TV series or movie?
I'm going to go TV series because I just enjoy a lot more time taken on characters and just like the storyline in general.
Yeah, series.
We've had more
sure.
success with series.
Absolutely. I think they're a lot more
Yeah.
faithful to the story.
And I'm guessing I'm gonna know what you guys are gonna choose here. But what about binge watch or read or slow roll?
We actually fight over this.
Uh-oh.
I'm a binge watcher, hardcore. I will watch every single episode in one day. I will like we're sitting down, this is what I'm doing today. And apparently I'm the only one.
It depends. It depends on what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends if it's like grasping me or not. I have this really, really terrible habit of not finishing series. Like, it's really bad. Look
I
at
wouldn't know
Crystal's
anything
face.
about that, Carrie. You still have to finish Onyx Storm, which thank you, ladies, so much for your coverage on that because I didn't have anyone else to talk to about it.
I know, I'm like so bad at that, and I'm just like not a good like binge watching person. Like, or I mean, I'll binge read. I'm a romance reader mostly, and I will binge read a romance book. Like, or like I'm also a Kindle reader too. So like binge reading on my Kindle, like that's a sport for me. Like I'll do that all day, every day. But binge watching, like I'm the type that I'll like watch an episode of something a night, like with dinner, and then like I won't watch it again till the next day.
I can't
Yeah.
do that.
I can't do that either.
Once I'm in it, I'm in it until the end.
All right, the theme of this one is sad YA. A Walk to Remember or The Fault in Our Stars?
Oh, A Walk to Remember. That's like was one of my favorites when I was younger.
I have read or watched neither, so.
Same.
What?
Wow, A Walk to Remember was like a must when I was in middle school and high school. Like you had to have read the book. That was like my first Nicholas Spark book. And then I watched the movie and I was bawling because I'm like, oh, I'm so deep and I'm 13 years old. It's great.
Little Lindsay was like, 16-year-olds should not be getting married. I don't get this. I was like, I don't understand.
I think it's so like the author of Fault in Our Stars is John Green, right? I didn't know that. But I knew who John Green was because of his TikTok account. Like, he's Hank's brother. So, of course, I know who that is. And it wasn't until probably like a month ago that I figured out that he wrote Fault in Your Stars or Our Stars or whatever that is. And I was like, what? Him? No. And I had to Google it because I didn't believe it. I was like, no way, that guy? Like, Hank's brother did that? Like...
You got to read them because they're all of his books are about like, see, I'm a Fault in Our Stars kind of gal because I love like a messed up teen. They all have like mental illness. And I'm like,
because that's
give me that.
realistic.
I don't get me anymore. Yes.
I'm just glad to know that, Crystal, you refer to John Green as Hank's brother because that's how I knew him too, as Hank's brother.
Like...
Not as just like super famous
but,
author.
like, I'm the sci-fi girly of the group, and I love science in general and space and stuff. So, like, I knew who Hank was long before I knew who John was.
All right, and we're going to close it out with Crystal's favorite topic, vampires. Do you guys want scary vampire, Dracula, or glowy vampire like Edward?
Scary vampire.
Yeah,
I'm more
scary.
of an Anne Rice girly.
Yeah.
Anne Rice vampires. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely scary. Even though, you know, I love my Twilight, I would definitely go scary vampire always.
I feel like a scary vampire is more realistic than a vampire that's going to fall in love with me.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, it's hotter. I want someone who's like a little bit dangerous.
Exactly.
That's like what the intrigue is.
He might kill me,
Exactly.
might not, you know. Like,
Keep the
Totally
suspense.
healthy way to look
Absolutely.
at relationships. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
man, no wonder we're all so messed up about love. Like,
And that concludes our This or That game, guys. Thank you for
that was fun.
participating.
That was fun.
You'll get 100 points each.
Yeah. Yay.
Not redeemable
You're
for
all
anything,
winners.
but... So, in your opinions, has there been an adaptation that is better than the book? Because the book readers are always, the book is better. But has there been a place or something that has been absolutely better than the book?
I think for me, The Princess Bride, the movie, hit way better than the book. The book was not bad, but I think mostly it didn't hit me because it was the wrong time. The political satire just kind of went over my head. It's in the past for me now, or for most of the country and the world. The movie is just amazing. So yeah.
I know Crystal and Lindsay will disagree with me, but we just read and watched Bird Box. I personally enjoyed the movie a lot more than I did the book. Even though, like,
You just like Tom.
you know, there's, yeah, honestly, let's be honest.
Who doesn't?
I just like Tom. Well, it does have, like, a romantic element in the movie that's not in the book. And, you know, as a romance reader myself, I do tend to gravitate towards stories that do have like a relationship aspect in it. So, and you tend to see that more in the adaptation because they find that more entertaining. I know we keep bringing up the Percy Jackson stuff, but they added this romantic relationship in the movie and I was like, no, like that was weird. Don't do that again. So there's a time and a place for it. And, you know, sometimes it's just not the time or place.
I'm going to go unhinged. Watch Crystal's
no.
reaction. I'm going to go with Leave the World Behind.
Oh my.
Okay, I didn't know that was a book, but that movie messed me up.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like the movie better just because... just because the book was so unhinged. Like, you get a whole grocery list in the middle of this book unnecessarily. So go for the
Yeah.
movie. It cuts that out.
I would
That's
have to
smart.
agree with that. Like, even though it was so wild and unhinged, either way, definitely the movie. There's plenty of times where sometimes the adaptation is better than the book. And maybe that's like a hot take, but
I don't think it is.
Station 11. Station 11 was that for me. You read that book.
I've been wanting to read that one. It's been on my TBR for literally so long. It's a TV series, isn't it?
On HBO, and it's so good. And it's really just because like they flesh out the characters and build relationships between them just so the TV series works from episode to episode, and it works so well. Like the book doesn't need it, but it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it was Dark Matter. I loved the book,
Oh,
but the
yeah,
series,
yeah. Dark Matter.
it just
yeah,
blew
such a
it
good
out of
choice.
like it was just incredible. Like I didn't think I was already going in full of disappointment. I'm like, they're not gonna be able to make this good, and it was better than I could have potentially like even thought of. It was so good. If you watch the series, I don't think you need to watch the. I don't think you have to read the book. Like the series did such a good job, and I'm a little nervous because they just announced the second season is gonna come up, and I'm like, but how? How are you gonna
Yeah.
do a second season?
There's no second book.
Like what's happening? So I'm nervous
Yeah.
now. We'll
Yeah.
see. But Blake Crouch is involved, which is what you all were talking about. When the
Yeah.
author is involved in the projects, it makes me
That's
feel a little
important.
better. Yeah.
What was your biggest letdown as far as adaptations go? One you would not recommend people watch and just stick to the book.
Personally, I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen the Shadowhunter TV series. Well, don't. But that TV series completely like demolished the entire book series. It was kind of insane. Like I was like, I feel like this takes talent to do it this bad.
For me, it was the Dresden Files, actually, by Jim Butcher. It's an incredibly long series of books that I really enjoy, and they did one season of a show, and it was awful. I feel like they rushed it. They didn't follow. They threw in a lot of the same characters, but not at all the same storyline, and nothing made sense. And it was just like, oh, no. I hope they go back to it, though. I'd love to see it done correctly.
I'm going to go World War Z on this one.
Yes.
I loved the book, the documentary style, all about survival, and then they just made it this Brad Pitt action, save the world kind of
And
thing.
it's not even a horrible movie, but it is not World War Z.
Yeah, the perspectives, like the varying perspectives of the book are what make it so good. And that would make for such a
Right?
good visual. And it's crazy that they made that choice.
Yep.
You're like the second person in the past week that has told me the same. 'Cause I haven't read the book, and I watched the movie. Like the movie was so fun, and then like read the book. The book is so much better. You're gonna love it. Blah blah blah. So
Good.
The audiobook, especially, is very good.
That's
okay,
another
I'm
one that's going to
add
make
this
you
to my
cry, though. Get
list.
the tissues ready, and you will need a recovery period. Just saying.
I am a sensitive soul, so I do need like a lot of palate cleansers in between
Yup.
sad books. I know for me it was The Hating Game, which I know that y'all have covered it, and I know it could be controversial, but the book has such a special place in my heart because it was one of those books that got me out of a years reading slump. Like, so it has such a special place in my heart. But that when I went to watch the movie, I was like, this is not what I had in my head at all. So it was just like, no, I'm just gonna stick with the book. I just like the nuance that the book has better than what the movie did.
And I kind of had a similar experience as you, where that book hit me at a time where I was in like my years where like I had not been reading anything, and I was just like dipping my toe into romance at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, now
And
look.
what was with them trying to make that
Shelves
movie a
and
Christmas
shelves.
movie, though? Like,
Yeah, that
But
was really
why?
strange.
I don't get it.
There was a lot of unnecessary things that were
Yeah.
done that I'm okay with like making some changes, but it just didn't work. And I guess just kind of close things out. Like, is there an adaptation that y'all are just like so excited and can't wait to watch? I know there's a lot of things that have been announced lately, but what are you guys most looking forward to?
I think one we're really excited for, like we're also right now kind of getting into like the Fear Street series at the moment, because we have the new Fear Street Prom Queen is coming out at the end of this month. That's continuing in the series for Netflix, but it's the first movie that's going to be covering an actual book in the series. The other movies are kind of just like a general idea, like different concepts that are in Fear Street, but this is the first one that's covering an actual book in the series. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also very excited for the Housemaid adaptation that's like happening in December.
Have you read the book? I haven't read the book on that one yet. Is it good?
Yeah, I did read the book. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty wild. That was my first time reading a Freida McFadden because, I mean, it was like so popular and everybody was talking about it. I'm like, what's everybody talking about? Like, I need to see what everybody's talking about.
The cast on that one looks incredible too, so I'm excited for that movie too.
The cast is crazy. And season 2 of Percy Jackson's going to be coming out, which I'm super excited for.
I'm still trying to finish Wheel of Time, so get caught up.
Yes. Yeah. That's really good. And honestly, watching Wheel of Time is making me kind of excited for possible Fourth Wing adaptation since they're both going to be with Prime Video. So because I see that they're actually, like, it actually looks pretty good, Wheel of Time does.
Yep.
So
And I know it's not technically an
maybe-
adaptation, but Rings of Power I've been really loving, and I know that's controversial. A lot of diehard Tolkien fans say that it's not really there, but I'm still loving it. Like, again, it's one of those, like, honor the story as best as you can, but this isn't in the books. This is a lot of interpretation of what we think between the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So, like, I'm enjoying it personally, and I'm kind of really excited for the next season on that too.
What about you, Lindsay?
Lindsay, what about you? Yeah, you're on the hook.
Yeah, I'm honestly just really excited about any Stephen King adaptations. I really enjoy them, and they can go either way. They could be really good and really close to source material, or they could just be completely unhinged.
And even his bad ones are a good time. Like, what was the one about the creeping, like, fog
The
or
Mist.
the happening?
The Mist.
Yes. Yeah. So good.
It was good.
Ridiculous. Truly ridiculous.
Crystal hated
I don't
that
do
one.
scary very well, so we're doing Fear Street, aren't we? And
Fear
That's
Street's
R.L.
so, like,
Stein,
that's, like,
yeah.
fun, scary. Like, I'm very excited
I
that
read
you guys are
R.L.
doing
Stein when
that.
I was
love
younger,
that
so like
series.
I'm kind of okay with this.
Yeah. And those books were, like, witchy, too, which, like, as a little me was like, yes, we love a powerful
Absolutely.
witch. They're very, yeah. I think that has wrapped up our questions. So we just wanted to tell you all it was an absolute blast to have you on the show. You are the best. Tell everyone where they can find you online and anything exciting that you want to shout out.
We're everywhere. Right, we're
Dun, dun,
everywhere.
dun.
We have Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Of course, you can find us anywhere podcasts are found. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, we are on YouTube as well.
Based on a Book podcast. Also, I think at this time, I think whenever this is coming out, we'll be like announcing our June schedule, which we're super excited about, where we will be starting the first book in different series, and that will be like continuing throughout multiple seasons. So we're really excited for that.
You guys have convinced me to read a lot of new books through this because I feel like I can shortcut my way by watching whatever the movie is first.
Yay! That's what we're here for.
Thank you for listening to Literally Books, the podcast.
Where we say what we read.
And we mean what we say. Bye.